Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we'll return with part 19 of our MotoGP 24 Let's Play. Yes, we're back this weekend here for the Pertamina Grand Prix of Indonesia. Yes, obviously if you missed out on the video that went live yesterday from India, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. We finally got a race on the Bud International Race Circuit. Before we head into this weekend though, we've got a few messages coming from other riders. Tatsuki Suzuki, he's talking some smack. He's clearly fancies himself a little bit of a fight. So you know what, we're going to try and wrestle up some beef with one of, admittedly now it's potentially quite an optimistic title rival late on in the year. Furusato with a 68-point lead, but Suzuki is really closing back in on Joel Esteban late on in the campaign. There is still 1 point between myself and Antonio Rueda as well. There is Vietti continues just to hold on to about a 20-point margin in Moto 2. Take a look at the MotoGP standings. Jorge Martin still with a 25-point lead over Francesco Bagnaia as well. So yeah, plenty to be decided in all of your classes. But yeah, I've never driven this track. I've got no idea what to expect this weekend. Get yourself subscribed if you're new. We're trying to hit 3k subs on the channel at the moment. And let's do this thing.
You're very welcome to the Indonesian circuit of Mandalika. The second Moto3 practice session is about to start. A reminder, the first 14 riders in the combined times will gain direct access to Q2.
Well, I'm already a little bit nervous then. Rain is predicted ready for the race, but we've got a lot of practice to try and do before we even can consider that. I've got to learn where this circuit goes. We've had quite a few tracks recently but we really haven't been able to kind of manage against the top riders, so maybe today we can try and return to fighting form late on in this campaign. Like I said, still aiming to obviously make sure first and foremost that we beat Rueda, but it would be nice if we could get back up, you know, sort of towards Suzuki and maybe Joel Esteban towards the end of the campaign. But yeah, it is going to require a Herculean effort and probably a little bit of luck as well, as yeah, I feel like I've definitely been able to get my muscle memory back on this game now. You know, I can definitely have a better idea of where I'm aiming the bike a lot earlier than I was, you know, just even a few races ago, as this track is incredibly high speed and very flat. And that penultimate corner is absolutely evil, I can tell that after just one lap. But the rest of the circuit, though, actually pretty nice, to be honest. It's, honestly, yeah, a lot easier than I was expecting when I had a look at the track map. There's a lot of flat-out sections around this venue. 144.5. I wonder how slow that's going to be come the end of the session. Well, people with more MotoGP knowledge then are going to have to inform me as to whether this track is, you know, like a fan favourite, whether it is very popular. Because I must admit, I'm loving it so far, so I'm kind of hoping, you know, that people aren't going to turn around in the comments and go, yeah, this track is universally loathed by riders and fans alike of the sport. But that 44.5 as well was actually a much more competitive lap time than I ever realised. Oh, a little mistake out of the final corner. Starting to see top times now down in the low 44s. We've just gone and obliterated that, though, with a 43.5. Honestly, I could see us getting a 42 out of the bike. With the exception of this final corner, though, yeah, this place is pretty easy to learn and very, very fun when you've got it absolutely on the limit there. Yeah, that final corner just feels a little bit like a lottery, though, as to whether the bike's going to scrub off speed or not. But as we make our way through the final corner, a little bit of a tidier run that time around. Surely this is going to be right down into the 42s. 43.01. Maybe that's good enough to see us straight into Q2 anyway. Well, I'm not suggesting that the AI are slightly inconsistent on this game, but the fact that over the last few rounds I haven't been within about a second of the fastest qualifying times. This time around at the end of free practice, we're 1.3 seconds clear of everybody else. Not sure how that works, but we might be on for a very easy pole position.
We're back at the circuit for the second Moto3 qualifying session. The first riders are about to get out on track and battle their way to the best grid positions for tomorrow's race.
Making our way then out onto the circuit. Yeah, we're going to try and make sure that we lock down that pole position then. I would expect the AI to be a bit quicker. Maybe in many ways, if it's meant to rain during the race, it'll actually give us a fighting chance, because I'm terrible in the rain still on this game. Just have really no confidence or any kind of expertise as to what the bike is doing underneath me when the heavens do open. Maybe it'll stay dry throughout the race as well, and we could be on for an even lonelier race than what ended up being most of our Indian Grand Prix. This game, yeah, it's certainly, it's far from perfect. It's certainly still got a lot of cracks, but is very, very fun in comparison to the F1 game, apart from when you go and invalidate your lap time in the stupidest way possible. But apart from that one little mistake then, the rest of the lap felt pretty good, to be honest. So let's see what that benchmark could have been. What could we have been chasing? 43.2. So yeah, pretty much as good as I managed then in free practice. Doesn't look like the AI getting much quicker though. Holgado sets a 44.5 first time. There was a minor patch update for some reason when I booted up this game. Bearing in mind the last video I did yesterday, I actually only recorded a couple of hours before this, so not sure what's changed, but hopefully they haven't completely nerfed the AI. I want to say it's just this track, to be honest. But yeah, they can still be quite all over the place on this game. On the second lap time then, hopefully, I mean, we might see the AI continue to improve, but maybe this is about to lock us down for a pole position. Oh, I've really sent it through that final corner. We are getting more and more times coming in as Rorida then a 44.4. We're going to do a 43.4. Near enough a second clear of our main championship rival. I'm going to go for one more improvement. I would love to try and get ourselves into the 42s. Okay, finally then, we've got someone else has shown up. Tatsuki Suzuki has now gone and set a time within a tenth of me, so I think the AI have finally come out and decided they want to play. This is good. There you go, Furusato, 43.1. This is what I wanted to see. It's all well and good when you are quickest, but I want to at least feel like I've earned it. Oh no, that's not good. Someone else. Oh, Ruida's fallen off. Ruida falls off and we therefore cannot improve this lap time. What could the time have been? So we make our way through the final corner. It was going to be mighty close with Furusato. We needed 3.5 tenths. And that is pretty much exactly what we found there. We would have been 300ths away from the championship leader. But yeah, that lap time, nothing we could have done about it. Yellow flags out. And it immediately just gets wiped. Oh, Joe Kelso, he threw me off there, trying to box back into the pit lane. Really didn't quite know what he was doing. Thought he discovered there was a load more extra grip or something through that penultimate corner. It's going to be another improvement for us, though. Not enough to bump us up the order anymore. We are 2 tenths back from Furusato now. I want to be the rider that gets into the 142s before the end of qualifying. And I'm going to keep doing laps until it's possible. Thing is as well, I actually feel like I'm maximizing this circuit as well at the moment. Yes, it might be one of the easiest tracks on this game, but I really do feel like I'm finding something extra on this bike at the moment, and that little bit extra I think is going to be enough to dip us into the 42s there. A 42.80, 3 tenths clear of Furusato. I'm not convinced I can find anything more here in qualifying, but will that be good enough to put us on pole? Well, there we go, a critical pole position late on in the campaign. We beat out the Flying Dutchman in Colin Via by just under quarter of a second there. Teo Furusato will line up in P3 ahead of Joel Esteban and Tatsuki Suzuki. My big rival in Ruida all the way down in 7th place. But yeah, obviously, like I said, rain is predicted for the Grand Prix, so we might struggle.
Good morning and welcome to the Mandalika circuit. We are live at the Indonesian Grand Prix, one of the most exotic locations in the entire season. Just a few more moments and we'll switch to the starting straight for the Moto3 class race. The cameras are accompanying us to the starting grid, where engineers and mechanics are checking final details before the start. It's been raining on the circuit for a few hours now and it will certainly not stop before the end of the race. Tyres will really be put to the test, and riders who chose a more aggressive strategy had to opt for 2 mediums.
Well, having a look then, of course, yeah, it is going to be wet tyres ready for this race, but we have opted for 2 sets of the mediums. Luckily, doesn't seem to be much rain on the circuit. It is just meant to be a wet track, so hopefully it's not going to get any worse as the race goes on. We've got to try and beat Suzuki today and obviously finish inside the top 5 as well as beat Ruida overall. Or make sure we leave here ahead of him in the standings as well. Let's do this thing though. Indonesian Grand Prix. I am excited.
With the sighting lap safely negotiated, the lights will go out in a few seconds and the Indonesian Grand Prix will get underway.
Well, we're having to start on the outside line ready for turn 1. Hopefully we can get a pretty clean, tidy start. It is 10 red lights and it's going to be lights out and away we go then for a 6-lap race here from Indonesia. Furusato getting off to an absolute blinder of a start. The same can be said for Suzuki to make our way down into turn 1. Everybody just trying to take it nice and easy there. You really want to avoid the curbs in these conditions. Clearly, Suzuki and Furusato feel differently as we dive into turn 2, and immediately I've gone off. I just cannot work out where the balance is in the wet conditions on this game, and immediately we are down to last place. Well, luckily, yeah, because we have got so much raw pace that hopefully we can close back in pretty much immediately to the rest of our competitors once again. Oh, we got crashes. I think that's Furusato, and loads of riders off down at the end of the little short shoot there. And suddenly we're going to move up into P22 again, but Furusato, an absolute nightmare for our championship leader. He has dropped right the way to the bottom of the order. We've got a couple of riders out. There's even more contact being made as we try and fight our way back through. That gives Suzuki yet another race lead in this championship. But Furusato has got an absolute mountain to climb. 2 riders in the top 5 of the championship standings falling off on lap 1. I can't believe that from our championship leader. I didn't think he made mistakes. I thought he was pretty much unbeatable over the course of a championship, as desperately trying to scrub off speed as gently as we can in towards that penultimate corner. We've survived it this time. Come on then, we've still got to try and make moves happen in this race. Ruida, you can already see making a little bit of an error. Don't fall off again through turn 2. Thank you. Try and slip down the inside there. This is where somewhere where we seem to be really, really strong. Trying to treat those 2 apexes as just one might potentially compromise us ever so slightly on the exit, but where this where that corner isn't flat out anymore, you actually don't lose out as much time because everybody has got to blend off anyway, rather than it being just about flat in the dry conditions there. This is another part of the track where we're still absolutely flying. Through that fast little S-bend we go down the inside of another rider. Joel Kelso next up just in front. So are we going to see any more riders having problems? Another one's gone. They just cannot navigate that corner at the moment. Not too sure who that was that fell off, but we'll claim another freebie. And immediately we're almost back inside the top 10 as we look at that. Just able to try and find different lines around the outside there. And we're up into P14 again. Ooh, around the outside. Come on, I'll try and make it happen. No, not quite enough grip there on Munoz through the final couple of corners. In fact, it's going to leave us vulnerable slightly to, I think that is Watley trying to look back down the inside. I'm going to really try and find the balance as well with the power figures here. You know, obviously, setting 1 is really good for trying to find low grip traction. But where this circuit is so high speed still, you know, you've got to be able to utilize all that power once you get the bike in a straight line. We do have a lot of confidence through some of the corners, though, which is really good. But not enough to make, you know, to run rings around the rest of the AIs. That was a corner cut just in front. I think that might have been Angel Paqueras, who completely strips himself over in the process. You can just see how close everyone is bunched up still. I've said it before and I'll say it again. You've got to be mad to race motorbikes. You've got to be even more mad to do it in the rain. But at least we're getting a lot of drama. Well, this is the corner that everybody else is struggling on at the moment. So we'll see if we've got any more casualties. Yep, another one down. Another one's gone. Not too sure who that was. And I hope it, obviously, in the nicest way possible, that one of them ends up being Ruida, who I think has ran into problems. I mean, just riders diving in everywhere that time round. I think, you know, we can take a portion of the blame. We're going to get under investigation for for track limits, sorry. Not for crash limits. But luckily, I think, yeah, they're dealing a lot of these as racing incidents because it is very slippery. Interestingly then, I've actually noticed Furusato never dropped to the rear of the field. He stayed up inside the top 10 and has actually, yeah, been able to recover pretty nicely still. So must have really got back on his bike pretty quickly. Circuit is definitely drying up, though, right towards the end of this one. So we're still trying to recover places back through the order. I think we need 2 more spots if we wanted to try and make sure that we are ahead of Ruida in the championship standings. We failed the last task of these to make sure we're beating Suzuki. He's absolutely come alive towards the end of the year, but so has Joel Esteban. Oh, come on, 1 more lap to go. Still the gap to Furusato and Riccardo Rossi up at nearly 3 seconds here. We've just set a new personal best of the day. Puts us within 1/10 of a second of Joel Esteban. Yeah, like we said, still at the front of the field, but just starting to feel that the grip's running out right towards the end of this one. I'm hoping Furusato might be able to make the move on Ruida, and that would hopefully help us out late on. You can see the Japanese rider getting closer and closer. I can see my big title rival. And you can also see through some of these corners how much time we gain. There still seems to be plenty of movers behind us, though, but we are desperately trying to close in on Mr. Aggressive himself. It's Riccardo Rossi here, but with just a couple of corners to go, I'm not convinced we're going to be able to get close enough. It might be about seeing whether Furusato can make a move. This final braking zone I am really, really nervous for. It's so difficult to try and slow down the bike. Forget how much sensitivity you have got, though, on these brakes as Rueda. He will lose the place to Furusato, then down in towards the final corner. Oh, there we go. Damn it, man. Come on, get back on. Get back on. I knew I was going to fall off there. I knew it was going to happen. I think, luckily, we're just about going to be able to hang on. No, we're not. And we're going to lose out to him by 2 points in the end. I just knew as soon as I tipped it into that final corner, it wouldn't be enough.
To the Parc Fermé to meet today's stars. Let's take a quick look at the final results of this Moto3 race.
Well, it wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have been enough to be ahead of Rueda anyway by the end of that race there. We needed to try and beat out Riccardo Rossi, and unfortunately, yeah, that wasn't going to happen there. Joel Esteban takes the win, 3 seconds clear of Suzuki, with David Alonso in third, beating out Colin Via there. Furusato, Rueda, Rossi, Fernandez, myself, and Scott Ogden making up the rest of your top 10. That means in the championship, 2 points in it still between ourselves and Rueda, but again, we have got to be careful of Colin Via and David Alonso late on in the campaign. Gap at the top has been cut down, 54 points now between Esteban and Furusato, that I'm pretty certain has basically led this title since day one. Constructors-wise, 10 points in it now between us and AJO. I still don't really know how to pronounce their name, but thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon when MotoGP returns. I've got no idea where next.